Happy anniversary! It is. have I gone too early? I've gone too early, but it is our anniversary. It is the All About the Bulls 1 year anniversary. I cannot believe we've made it, mate.
Who would have thought 14, 15 months ago in a pipe dream about tasting beer and talking about sport would have actually kept going for a whole calendar year.
I know.
The 18th, which is going to be on Wednesday, was our first published episode when we were still the Guys Being Guys Sports Podcast, episode 1. Didn't have a clue what we were doing. Still by far our most listened to podcast episode, which is sad in itself. But
that's right. And I don't think the quality is necessary. I don't think it's gone down, but I don't think it's gone up either. So
no, I think we've been as we showed a few weeks ago, we are consistent. That is us,
mate. Yeah, emotional.
So, mate, it's been a year. It's been a complicated.
It's been a year together.
Yes, but we've made it. I'm going to go and have a big glass of champagne to celebrate.
At 11 p.m. on a Monday.
Yes, yeah. I'm joking. I'm going straight to bed.
Mate, it's been a pleasure.
Like every good anniversary should end.
Sleeping in separate beds and getting a good night's sleep.
Getting a good night's sleep, exactly.
And feeling slightly remorseful about what should have been, what could have been. If we both just tried harder. And put more effort in. Anyway, but look, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us on this momentous occasion, and in honour of this very special episode, we are doing absolutely nothing differently because we really weren't prepared enough.
That's not true. That's not true. We spoilt each other with a trip to the Oval.
Yeah. That was very special. Very special indeed. A day at the Ashes. And in fact, mate, how are you from that? Because it was emotional. It was the whole thing.
Tumultuous and exciting and all kinds of different mixed feelings. It's still one of my favourite days every year. And it did not disappoint. I'm glad you got to experience it with me this year. I think, there were a couple of funny stories, but I've just had a flashback of we all got separated over the lunch break and all thought it was each other's round. So we turned back up with about 22 beers lined up. At which point the guys down the road, you remember every time they had to step over the beers, there was the old traditional,
It was proper. I was going to say schoolboy, but there really shouldn't be schoolboys drinking 24 pints at lunch. But it was proper kids. Kids. It was like kids let out for the day. No adult supervision. No. Absolute carnage.
So it was
absolute carnage.
So what was your experience of the day? Did you enjoy it?
Mate, I had an absolutely cracking time. I think it's one of those things. Whenever you go with a group of funny people to watch sport, somehow the actual sport itself kind of takes a bit of a back step.
Yeah, it's true.
And it was a good day's cricket, but actually it was just more the jokes and the banter and the laughter and things like that. Just all of those things that came out were just absolutely. None of it is repeatable.
No,
for the sake of people's relationships and jobs and careers and all that kind of thing. Like none of it is actually repeatable. Yeah. But it was just a cracking day, an absolutely cracking day. And I'm very much looking forward to next year's.
Oh, mate, it's going to be fantastic. Go on.
What about you though? You must have a couple.
You had to leave a little bit earlier than I did, which was probably a wise decision. But we left the ground in our drunken stupor, and it's one of the lads spotted. I don't know who they saw first. I think it might have been Leachy and a couple of other players. And I've never seen such fangirl action come out from this group of lads we're with. They were literally chasing them down the street, selfie, and then they'd come back to where I was stood, look at me, and then they'd see like Broady come out. So they ran back across the road, photo with Broady, And then and then they ran back. Root, Bayliss, Trescothick was there. It was just a phenomenal effort watching. Not middle-aged yet, but we're going in that direction.
Sure.
Chasing younger boys down the road to have a photo with them was just. I mean, it was incredible.
I don't know. I mean, that might be the title for the show,
yes.
Chasing Younger Boys. For that, I mean,
that was Michael Jackson's last album, I think. No?
Wow, we've gone dark. We've gone dark.
But and then I mean, it didn't disappoint. We had our traditional press up competition, as any listener of the show from the beginning would know that we do have an annual press up competition with a couple of the lads, of which one of them I won't name names, but his name rhymes with Beale. Was adamant at breakfast that he wasn't going to be doing any press ups, to the point of we discussed it. We both agreed we're not going to do press ups.
Yeah, bit more mature this year.
Yeah,
bit more
yeah.
mature.
Well, another year under the belt.
We've all grown up. We've all got families.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
To which point he still ended up in a press up competition with another mate of ours who I don't think you met. He joined us after, but the highlight was the other guy that joined us was sober in the competition. And then we also had, it's just, you could hear police sirens. The video is just pure class, but, yeah.
I was watching the video on Sunday. It was absolutely amazing. And I kept trying to I was with other people at the time, and I kept trying to think should I share this with other people? They're probably not going to find this amusing. Well, there's a very few people on the planet who are actually going to find this.
I try to show someone tell my mates about it. I'm just like, yeah, but why are you doing press ups? And actually, yes. Why are we doing press ups? But
it's a perfectly fair question. It's a perfectly fair question.
It was an absolutely blinding day.
It was. I mean, we could dedicate the whole show to it.
Well, I think we should. I think what we should do is, why don't we have a little chat about the summer of cricket?
Yes. Rather than doing a review of the 5th test, let's actually do a review of the summer.
Okay, so top 3 moments. Have you got any?
Top 3. Okay, these are in no particular order.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favourite moments all summer that's just brought me so much joy has been Stuart Broad taking up a summer residency inside Dave Warner's Nightmares. I've just absolutely loved seeing that short, smug git being owned by Broad. I'm sorry. I know there are other people involved in the whole thing. Is I hated Dave Warner before he turned out to be a cheating bugger. That just cemented it forever. That just sort of helped me justify my absolute bitterness. Did
you see his Ashes stats?
No, but he must have averaged 9 or something.
I mean,
like that,
it was
across the whole series.
I think the last time I saw it, he scored 95 runs for 10 innings.
One of those was a 60, wasn't it? He must have scored 30 or something like that across.
It was just an incredible effort, to be fair, to be able to be that bad.
I think I did read some of it was the worst performance by an opener who had played all 5 tests.
Yes, it is. It's the lowest
ever.
Lowest ever in a 5-test series.
Cricket.
Yeah, in a 5-test series.
Not just the Ashes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
That is brutal.
I mean, when Jason Roy scoring more runs than you in a series in Test cricket.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love. I mean, in Tim Payne scoring more runs than you in a Test series of cricket.
Wow. Yeah. That's my first moment. Is Broad just owning Dave Warner. I love that so much. Second one was Jofra at Lords.
Yes,
I think he actually didn't really stand up as he didn't repeat that intensity for the rest of the series, sadly. But Jofra
the last day, the little battle with him and
awesome.
Wade at the Oval was good. That was good.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
But sorry, carry
good.
on.
Actually, no. Yeah, no. That's a really fair point, because I was watching that and watched back some of the highlights, and it made me think about saying in this episode that I do like that. I think we've now added some real fire to the bowling lineup. Like both Broad and Anderson, fantastic bowlers, and have still got it. I think particularly Broad has demonstrated that in this series. But they're now a little bit more experienced. They'll almost get you out with some guile and quality, and we haven't got that absolute out and out young gun who just wants to knock your block off.
Yeah.
And now with Archer, I think, hopefully we've got both. And I would love to see the three of them bowling together. That'd be awesome.
My gut is they will rotate Broad and Anderson through the rest of their career, depending on the pitch and the scenario.
Yeah.
But
no, very true. Very true.
A couple of stats with the ball for the Ashes.
Nice.
Do you know the leading wicket taker was?
Cummins?
Yeah. At an average of 19.6.
Wow, that's good.
And to top that off, he bowled 211 overs through the series.
Really? Yeah, I did see something about that, the number of balls bowled or something like that. Like he was well ahead of the next bowler.
I mean, it's a phenomenal effort from a quickie. I mean, you think, if you look at the rest of the quicks, Broad 175 overs, Archer 156. Okay, he missed a test match. Hazelwood 160. But then the next quick after that was 95. The two spinners are the only other two. So, I mean, to bowl that many overs, although it is the highest wicket haul in a 5 series without picking up a fifer.
Really? Did he not get a fifer? So he's got consistently 4s.
Best bowling figures were 4 for 32. I feel like we're on test match. 4 for 32.
So actually, do you know what? I've watched Cummins. I watched him in the Australia-India series last winter, and then obviously in the Ashes. He's really impressed me. I really quite like Pat Cummins. I think he's very good, very good. So that's my second. My third, I was tempted to go with David Gower's slip on the final day of his career for Sky, with his amazing slip up on live commentary. But it's so cheesy, but it has to be Stokes at Headingley.
Yeah,
that was just outrageous.
I'll see your Stokes at Headingley, and I'll raise you Stokes World Cup final. If you could watch one innings again, if you go to one day of cricket, either the final or that day at Headingley, what would you rather do?
I think Headingley was more impressive. In terms of a cricketing feat, I think Stokes at Headingley was more impressive. I mean, and look, both of them are amazing, and the vast majority of even professionals will never be able to reach that level, let alone do it twice within a few months. But I reckon Headingley was more impressive.
Yeah.
More in terms, yeah. So, mate, those are my three.
Oh, okay.
Brody, Jofra, and Stokes. Go on then. What are your what are your beauties?
I was going to go Jofra Archer and the Steve Smith battle at Lords.
Yes.
But Jofra as a whole. Still, that catch Ben Stokes took in the World Cup opener to dislodge Andile Peklaquaya when he absolutely caned it out to the boundary. That catch was just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so sorry. I've only gone. You're doing the whole summer.
Yes. Did you not read my email?
Mate. Sorry. I do you know what? I did, but I totally thought it was the Ashes. No, okay, that is a blinder.
No, you've committed. Blinder. You've locked your 3 in.
I am. No, I'm in. And I stand by them. Yeah, that was an amazing catch. There were some other. I mean, wasn't it Guptill's catch, like the old 7 toes? Like leg slip or something like that, took an absolute belter.
Just phenomenal.
Root's last catch yesterday was good.
Root's catch was good.
Wicket, that was a sharp catch.
Steve Smith catch was incredible. Rory Burns held an absolute worldie. The fielding. It's fair to say the fielding and the bowling, the whole summer in the whole. I think in the World Cup they weren't huge. There wasn't many massive scores in the World Cup, really.
No, not at all. Not. And actually, it's interesting when you look back at it. Australia in the World Cup, Warner was actually looking really good. I think he was second highest run scorer or something like that. Like he was looking really good. And Steve Smith didn't have a great World Cup, but then they've totally turned it around.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, so it's a funny one.
Okay, so Stokes's catch.
It's been the absolute incredible summer of love as the nights get shorter. I mean, the days get shorter, and we head into all the whites going back in the loft.
Actually, sorry. Before we wrap up, though, I was reading something interesting about what the title of the article is like. What do England need to do to win the next Ashes series? What do you think they need to do what changes do they need to make, or things they need to keep doing to win the next Ashes series down under?
Well, I think we need to they'll clearly sort out the batting.
Yes.
I don't know. I think you've got to pick Burns. I don't know. Denley's done all right. He scored a good 50. He scored 94. I'm still not convinced with him batting there. I'd probably bat Denley. I'd probably bring in a new opener again. I'd probably bat Denley 3, and then I'd probably go Root 4, Stokes 5. Or the other option is you open with Denley and you put Bairstow at 3, but not as keeper anymore. You bring Folkes back in, who's the best keeper in the country, and he can bat 7, and then you got Stokes, Butler at 6. So Stokes at 5, Butler at 6. And then go from there. I think Leach has done enough to stay in the side at the moment.
Yeah.
If nothing else, with the bat, I think he averaged 29 over the summer.
Which is more than many top line bats. So, I think you're right. So in this article I was reading, it said something very similar. Actually, it talked about picking players on substance rather than style. It said the player with the highest batting average during Root's captaincy is Ben Folkes.
Well,
who averages 41.5 from 5 tests, and he was dropped in the West Indies 2 games after being player of the series in Sri Lanka, and it's just like
just bizarre.
That is crazy.
Bizarre.
That is absolutely crazy. So I think getting Folkes back in is a really good move. I think that gives you a bit more options in terms of the batting lineup as well. And they're also saying you need to actually let Root go back to just being a batsman. And the whole argument about you can't drop Root as captain because actually there's no one else isn't actually true, and it's not a good reason to have him as captain. And I can't remember exactly the way this article put it, but I thought it's quite good. It said something like, if you keep Root as captain, you lose a great batsman and you gain a mediocre captain.
Well,
so why do it? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Like I really, really like Joe Root. I think he's a good lad. Like in terms of the way he comes across, I think he comes across well. And to watch him bat, I think he's really nice to watch. He's a really good player. I know it's left field, and this got met with some skepticism on Friday when I brought it up, but Rory Burns, I think you've got to stick with now. He's averaged in the 40s.
Yep.
We haven't had anyone average in the 40s for a long time, since Cook retired and, partnering Cook or whatever. So I would back Burns for a while and I would make him captain. He's captain at Surrey. Everyone likes him. Apparently he's a good leader. He's quite a natural leader in the dressing room. So the argument of players, who don't have that much experience or whatever. The risk is you have someone captain for ages and they're not a captain. So if they play for ages, they're not a captain like Root. Whereas you're bringing in a batsman who is a captain. Is captain Surrey for a long time. So that would be my solution to the Root captaincy problem.
Yeah. I worry about Anderson. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm worried he's finished.
Be gutting.
When I'm not,
be gutting.
It will be heartbreaking, particularly if he goes out without playing another game. Yeah. I think that'd be a real shame.
I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be right for South Africa. The South Africa tour over Christmas.
Yeah. Here's something for you. Like, I was thinking about this yesterday. I know that we didn't win the Ashes. And that the Aussies have still got them. They've retained them. But there's something about, like, the Aussies didn't win the Ashes. They just didn't lose them.
Yes, it's an excellent.
And I wonder, like, if you're an Aussie who didn't play in the last winning series, so you're only you only played in this series, and there must be a few of them. How does that really feel? Because you've never won the Ashes.
Yeah.
You drew 2-2. You didn't win the series. You didn't win the Ashes. People before you won it, and you just managed not to lose it. I know. Of course, we would much rather win the Ashes and things like that. But actually, I think there's a lot to take from this series. I think, surprisingly, I think 2-2 is actually punching above our weight at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I think this isn't a bad Aussie side. Like, their batting lineup never really got going, but
yeah, I mean they're good.
Bowling lineup's very good.
Yeah, they're a very good bowling side with
two wins,
2 good batsmen.
2 good, but I'm like, I know Headingley was like a total aberration, and arguably we could have easily lost that, but we could have won at Lords if there wasn't for the weather. We probably got the better of that one. So actually, There's been some real big frustrations from England cricket this season for me, but I still think there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I think all in all, I'm giving this cricket summer a good solid 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, if you call it the whole season with the World Cup as well, absolutely.
I think the only thing that would have been 10 out of 10 is if they won the Ashes.
Yeah, if we won the Ashes, that would have been.
It's been a good series, it's been exciting, and the World Cup was incredible. So I'm giving this year's review is 9.5 out of 10 for me. 9
out of 10 from the All About the Balls boys. Speaking of World Cups,
yes,
we are just 4 days away from another. This year just keeps giving. It is amazing. The Rugby World Cup is just a few hours away. I cannot wait. And so we thought we focused on cricket for a long time, understandably, this season or this summer. But we're going to start getting back into the rugby now as well. And we thought as the World Cup kicks off, what we'll do is we will focus, first of all, just on the group stages. So we're not trying to do any big predictions for the rest of the tournament, partly because who knows which way it's going to go, runners up, winners, also because we are crap at predictions.
not we. So me. You're not so bad.
I think my crapness hides behind your terribleness, but but so we thought we'd do a little bit of a preview. So again, in true All About the Balls fashion, this should be just enough to get you by in a work or pub conversation with people who know quite a bit about rugby. You should be able to drop in a few little cheeky facts and opinions that allow you to enjoy the conversation and not come across as an absolute idiot. So, mate, you've kicked off with Group A and B, haven't you?
Yes, I'll do Group A. Then you can do one,
do C.
and then
rock and roll,
and then we'll do B and D. We'll mix it up that way if you want to do it that way. So Group A. Just so the format, so people know, there's 20 teams in the World Cup. 4 groups of 5. So 4 group games each, and then the top 2 progress to the quarters, basically. And then in the old school money way, the top of one group plays the second of the other group, basically. So it's all to play for to finish top. Group A is made up of Ireland, Scotland, Japan, Russia, and Samoa. So an interesting.
No, I think this is the most straightforward group.
Do you?
In terms of like who's going to win, who's going to come second?
I don't know. I'll tell you why about Group B. Group B is for me, but to be fair, yeah, you'd still fancy a pretty obvious 1 and 2. But I've been obviously doing all the ample research that I always do to prepare for this podcast, and I think in reality, obviously, you've got to go. I mean, Ireland are 4th favourites to lift the Webb Ellis Trophy, and then Scotland are next in that group, but Japan are just behind Scotland in the odds.
And they've got the home nation, crowd behind them and all that kind of malarkey.
But I thought a couple of players to watch. Obviously, the obvious one that I was going to clearly go for with Ireland was Johnny Sexton. Just, in terms of the obvious choice. But another one is Jack Conan, who's the number 8, the Leinster's number 8. So there's a lot of chat that he's going to take CJ Stander's place.
Yep.
At number 8, which means CJ Stander's going to have to dislodge Peter O'Mahony, for that blindside position. But I think Jack Conan's just absolute beast, incredible player. But I think he's going to be the one to watch for Ireland as well as Sexton. But I think the obvious thing is if Sexton doesn't do well, then my worry is Ireland are not going to be as strong.
Yeah.
I think they'll get through, obviously, but I still don't think they're going to be as powerful or as dangerous as if he does not fire. That's my big if on that one.
They do heavily rely on him.
Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Hamish. Is it Hamish Watson?
Yeah.
The obvious ones would have been either Hogg or Finn Russell, but I'm going to go with the mesh. Hamish Watson, great ball carrier, absolute beast. He just runs through absolute walls. So I think, he will be an absolutely dominant force. I think he's got the most broken tackles by any Scottish guy in a Six Nations game in history.
Really?
So I might have.
That's a great old stat.
I might have made that up. I'm not lying.
Right.
No. I think it's true.
First.
I think it's true. But yeah, so he's my one to watch in the Ireland group. The obvious one for Japan, the leader, the talisman, who is just an absolute monster for Japan. I'm going to go Michael Leach to watch. I think he's the obvious one to go for. And then I'm going to go for Russia, who I think, more because of the background story, this is like a Rocky nemesis story of Tager Zadziev, who's from Dagestan. I believe Dagestan is not a very nice place in Russia, by all accounts. I don't think it's the holiday resort.
And that's saying something.
So, but for all our Russian listeners, please prove me wrong or tell me what Dagestan's like. But he's open side flanker. He used to be in mixed martial arts and kickboxer before playing rugby. So he's got a mean scissor kick. And hopefully, he's going to get someone in a chokehold or do something silly, but he's going to be good to watch.
Fantastic.
And then I think it's Meleni Mataveo, the scrum half for Samoa. Although Samoa have got, is it Nana Maya or something like that, who's their fullback, who's just absolutely ridiculous. So it's going to be a good group.
They have got some guns there.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty easy group. You'd expect Ireland and Scotland to come through, but I think Russia are going to be a little bit of a surprise. They play. Russia aren't bad. They're not a bad side.
I think Ireland will be absolutely fine. I think you're absolutely right about the importance of Sexton. Like once they get into the knockout stages, like if he doesn't fire, they're in a whole world of trouble. I think in the group stage, Ireland will be absolutely fine. I think Scotland will be very nervous. I think they will be very nervous if teams like Japan, or particularly like Japan or Samoa, can actually get ahead. I think Scotland might start to panic a little bit. Yeah. And you get Finn Russell maybe trying to do a little bit too much too soon. And if it doesn't quite come off, first time, then they'll lose confidence. Their heads go down. I think they could, I'm worried. I fear for Scotland. I want all the home nations to get through. But I fear for Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting. So it's good. That is my roundup of Group A.
Nice. Well, look, let's jump ahead to Pool C, where we've got England, France, Argentina, USA, and Tonga. So I think starting with England, I think a lot has been written about England and how much of a chance they have of actually winning the whole thing. And I think they're actually looking good. I think they're looking good. I think they have got a really tough kind of route to the title. Like, they've got to beat some serious teams along the way. Like, I think at least one of, if not both, of New Zealand, South Africa, and then maybe Australia and or Wales as well. Like, if they win it, they will have really deserved it. That is incredible. The sort of the streak they're going to have to go on.
Yeah.
Big thing for England, I think. Actually, there's two. There's one is discipline. Like, they've got to make sure they keep their discipline. There's too often they've given away key penalties or yellow cards, just screwed them right over. And the other thing is they need to keep up their pace. Like, they've shown time and again that they can blow sides off the park in the first 20 minutes, half an hour. But they've also shown that after that, they can let teams right back in.
Yeah.
And so they have to just keep going. Like, they've got the size, they've got the skill, they can score tries. They've shown that. They've got Farrell, who's got a really reliable boot, but they have to keep up that intensity for the whole time. So I think they should win the group. I think there's a few players to look out for. I think in terms of like youngsters, Joe Cocker-Nasinger is still really young. He's only 21, and he's an absolute beast on the wing. Although I did hear that he and Mark Wilson are potentially not going to play in the opening match. I think they've both got injury concerns, like knee problems or something like that. So
who's England's opener? Do you know?
Tonga on Sunday. I think it kicks off about 11ish on Sunday morning. So yeah, I think England should go well, should win. Big threat for them, I think, is Argentina, and they've got some proper talent. Like, their captain, I think, flanker is a guy called Pablo Matera, and he had an amazing Super Rugby season. He is incredible. Like, keep an eye out for this guy. It's absolutely amazing. You've got the only person who can compete with Ibn Estevez for like psycho is Thomas Lavanini. He plays in the second row for Argentina, and he is mental. If he can keep control, he's a scary individual. And then he got some proper firepower in the back, so particularly the fullback is a guy called Bothelli. But one issue I think they've got is they don't have much depth. Like, the whole sort of jokes about them basically being the Jaguares but wearing different shirts is true, and they don't have much depth beyond that. Like, they've got a couple of players that come in from like Europe, but beyond that, if they pick up any injuries or even just tiredness, you can't have your first 15 playing all the matches and winning the tournament. They're going to struggle when they have to play their sort of second choice players. They've had pretty disappointing warm-up games. Like, there's a lot of discussion about how much the warm-up games really matter, but Argentina have lost all of theirs. I think they're like no wins in the Rugby Championship. They put in a good performance against New Zealand. Yeah. They should probably have beaten Australia. They got trounced by the Box. Yeah. And they're not in a good run of form at the moment. So, but on their day, they can beat most teams. They are capable of beating most teams. Yeah. So again, and like, speaking of inconsistency, the ultimate inconsistent team of World Rugby, France, God knows which team's going to turn up. And that's such a lazy sort of stereotype, but it's a stereotype because it's true. Like, on their day, they are fantastic and they are exciting and big and scary and fast. And with players like the Romain Ntamak at fly half, they got some real young talent, some creativity. But as England showed, I think, in the Six Nations, you can very easily just tear them to pieces. If they're not switched on, if they're not organised, and often they're not, then you can absolutely rip them to pieces and put a massive score on them. So I'd quite like the French to do well, but I think they could well actually struggle to get out of the group. I can see Argentina beating France, and I can see England beating France, and then that's their World Cup over. I think over a four game group, like when there's 5 in the group, consistency will be key, because they should both beat Tonga and USA. And they've just got to play well against the French, or the French have got to turn up on the day against Argentina. And I think that's what will decide who goes through, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, like you say, you got Tonga and the USA. Neither side should trouble the big boys. They really shouldn't. USA have had an amazing season in sevens. I think made 4 finals in a row, won a couple of tournaments or one of them. Fantastic. But at 15s, they still struggle. Although they have now got a proper professional setup, so that should help. But they shouldn't trouble anybody. Tonga, as with all Pacific Island sides, there should be some amazing highlights.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, No. Pool B, the clash of the bottom versus top. So the reason I'm going to give you that Pool B is the easiest group to get through, is based on one stat alone, that in that group, you've got the 2 favourites. So you have, obviously New Zealand, who are favourites for the World Cup despite their mixed form. And then you've got South Africa, who are probably in slightly better form than the Kiwis, but ultimately are second based on that. And then you've got the other 3 teams in the group, which is the interesting thing, is Canada, Italy, and Namibia, of which Namibia are the lowest fancy team in the tournament. And then you've got the other 2 teams that are also struggling. And Italy are ranked, I think, 15th in terms of with the bookmakers, which is pretty dire for them. So that pretty much sums up how I think it's going to be a very big 2-horse race, and it's going to be just how many people get points on the board and how big the scores are going to be in that group at the moment. The opening game of that group is what is going to be the most important thing, because it is South Africa against the Kiwis on Saturday, and they are going to be I think that the winner of that group will win the group, and then they are likely to face either Scotland or Japan in the quarter. So it's quite a big game on Saturday. It doesn't rule anyone out, but I think the loser is going to face Ireland in the next stages. So that's going to be interesting.
Okay then, mate. So with all of that information and that insight, who do you think is going to win the big clash on Saturday?
Oh, as I say, really important. I think it's going to get everyone off to the right start. I think I've got a sneaky suspicion that New Zealand are going to win it.
Really?
But I think it's going to be very close, and I think it could go either way. I really do.
Or it could be South Africa.
Or it could be South Africa. I mean, look, I want to say South Africa.
Yes.
Actually, no. Do you know what? I've changed my mind. I'm going South Africa. I'm going to back them.
Go with your heart.
I think I'm going with my heart. It's served me terribly over the last 12 months, but I'm going for it anyway. I'm going to go South Africa. I think New Zealand will come back strong. I think they'll have I think they'll peak at the end. I think South Africa are on a high, whether that's good or bad, but I think I'm going to go South Africa win. It's a neutral ground. Yep. I'm going to go for it. And I think the players to watch are, there's 2 for South Africa that I think, Malcolm Marx.
Total legend.
Who's actually been pretty average this year.
Yes.
But I think when he's not average, he's probably one of the best players in the world. So I think I'm going to go, you need to watch him, and I'm going to go Sibo Nkosi, who is our winger, because Apu Edianti, our other, world-class speedster. It's looking unlikely that he's going to be fit. He might be fit, but it's unlikely. But we've got a very, very capable replacement in Nkosi, I think, who scored 7 tries in 8 test matches. And, he'll be one, I think, to watch from them. So that, New Zealand is going to be a boring one to watch, but for anyone who's just not followed rugby much, Beauden Barrett, I think in the group they're in, I think he's going to rip apart those 3 other teams.
Yeah.
I think they, Canada, are going to get, I think are going to just get destroyed. I think it's really going to be, Namibia, who are not good, let's be honest, unfortunately. Namibia's best player is retired from World International Rugby 2 weeks ago.
Oh no.
I think he's gone to the Harlequins. So he's clearly not made that decision for money. He's obviously just thought, I don't fancy a World Cup. I'm just going to go and play Harlequins.
When the draw was made and it was like, South Africa, New Zealand, was like, and I'm out.
And I mean, Italy, who are 15th with the bookmakers, as I said earlier, out of 20 teams, that I think, all 3 of those teams are not good defensively.
No.
So I think Barrett's going to absolutely destroy them. I mean, you've got, it's quite sad, for Italy, you've got above them Japan, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Georgia, all bookmakers there and thereabouts this is to win it, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to win it, but they're in that.
It's like the, was it the president of Toulon when they announced that they'd signed Sergio Parisse and for, obviously the legendary Italian player, and some journalist asked them at the press conference, like, are you worried about how you're going to have to miss him during the World Cup? And the president's reaction was like, let's face it, he'll be back in 2 weeks. It's like, yeah, it's probably true.
My last one just to watch is not Parise, actually. I'm going to go for Tommaso Allen, the fly half.
Oh, okay.
For Italy. I think he's going to be, he's all right. He's not bad. He's a good fly half. He's improved a lot. So I think he's going to be one to just keep an eye on out of the other 3 teams in the group, but I can't see over a 4-game group stage anyone but South Africa and New Zealand going through.
No.
It just depends. Do they play Ireland in the quarters, or do they play Scotland or Japan or Russia in the quarters?
Definitely not Russia. Definitely.
Well,
look, I say definitely not. I mean definitely.
I'll just
not, but mate, thank you very much for that.
So Group D.
Group D
is before we wrap up this evening.
Yeah, look, Group D should be relatively straightforward. You've got Australia, Fiji, Georgia, Uruguay, and Wales. Should be Wales and Australia going through. The big question, is going to be like which one tops the group and which one's runner up. Wales should take it. They've got a great squad together at the moment, a really good team. They are missing a couple of key players with, Toby Falaptau and Anscombe as well, but they've got plenty of talent there. I think actually they had a bit of a rough series of warm-up games, only won 1 of the 4. They beat England in Cardiff, but otherwise they lost to England in Twickenham and they lost to Ireland twice. But I think in a way it's better that they have those losses in those games and sort of break their unbeaten run before the World Cup and go in with maybe not humility as such, but like just feet on the ground and knowing what it takes to come back. So I think loads of talented players to look for. The legend is Alan Wynne-Jones leading from the front. Surely he's got to retire after this World Cup. Surely. Great fullback in Liam Williams, who's really exciting to watch. Jonathan Davies in the centre's bloody hero. They probably need to score a few more points. Like their defence seems to be rock solid. And they definitely can score points, but I think when they come up against some of the better teams, they're going to need to put them away. So it'd be interesting to see how they deal with that. Other big opposition there is Australia. God knows, Australia have almost turned into the French. They're the French of the Southern Hemisphere. Which team turns up, who knows? They've got some real talent in their side, but they've had real talent in their side for a long time now. And since the 2015 World Cup final where they lost to New Zealand, they have just been awful and just on a terrible downward spiral. They're missing Israel Folau, who's arguably their best player because he thinks homosexuals are going to burn in hell. And Rugby Australia think differently. So I don't know. Australia still confused me. I want Australia to do really badly, I have to say. I would love it. I love it if they got knocked out in the group stages. If they lost to like Fiji or something like that, then that would just, I'd be so happy. But I fear they could top this group. Which would be really annoying.
Well, the thing is, whoever comes second in the group plays England probably.
I know,
in the quarter.
and I have to say that scares me as well because I can.
So it's Wales or Australia.
Yeah, Wales or Australia against England in the quarters. That immediately starts filling me with dread as well as an English fan because both those sides could beat us. But look, Fiji again. Sadly, kind of like Fiji. I think are better than Samoa and Tonga, but in the same kind of sort of group where the Pacific nations just are awesome to watch, deserve to do better, deserve to get better funding and all that kind of stuff, but just aren't gonna aren't gonna make it to the quarterfinals. One player to watch for is a guy called Semi Radradra, who is an ex rugby league player, and he's a sometimes plays outside centre or but normally on the wing. He is an absolute beast. He's amazing with ball in hand. I think he played for the Barbars against Australia a while ago and scored like 3 or 4 tries against them. Like, he is amazing. Georgia, a fantastic rugby story. They have been doing so well over the last few years and have got some fantastic players. They automatically qualified for this World Cup. They didn't have to go through any of the qualifying tournaments or anything like that. So this is the first one they've automatically qualified, which is a real good sign of their improvement. I think they will struggle without a doubt to make the quarters. They got beaten twice by Scotland in the warm-up games. And they need to find a way to score points. Like, they are awesome in the tie, big, strong ball carriers, but just aren't too good at unlocking defences. And they really, they're like a battering ram. And actually that's not enough at this level to really challenge the top teams. You've then got Uruguay, who are going to get pounded. Just to be fair, like, Georgia will be eyeing that up, going, that should be a definite win. And they'll be targeting. I think Georgia will be targeting Fiji for a second win. Uruguay are just going to be. I think Uruguay are in the same kind of camp as Namibia, just absolute whipping boys.
Absolutely.
So don't expect anything from them at all. So my prediction, I think it's going to be Wales. I think Wales first will top the group and will go on and play the runners-up of Group C. And Australia will come second, and so we'll play the winners of Group C, which could well be England. So we could have an Ashes repeat come quarter-final time.
We'll bring Broad in at lock and Warner in a scrum half. We'll see what happens. But I mean, so just to wrap up, we got some great little fixtures for this weekend before we meet up again. So we've got obviously the openers on Friday. But then on the Saturday, you've got France, Argentina. Yes, which is going to be a big,
really key game there. Yeah.
You've got New Zealand, South Africa. Obviously,
huge
weekend game of the opening round. I think, without a doubt, when you got the two favourites playing each other in the first game in the group.
Yeah.
And then you've also got Ireland, Scotland, which is pretty much the decider for that group, really, in reality there. So there's going to be a lot decided. Well, a lot of markers being put down in that first weekend. Yeah. So when we speak again, we'll have good insight into how things are going to start looking and the road to the final.
One bizarre thing: the opening game. I understand why it's got Japan in it, but it's Japan-Russia.
I think it's out of a pot. It must be out of a pot.
That's a bit bizarre. But apparently, the Japanese fans are going absolutely crazy. Like the following, not just the Japanese, but everyone over there in Japan at the moment it looks like it's going to be an amazing tournament. Like 15
epic World Cup.
15,000 fans turned up to watch the Wales training session during the week. Like
it's going to be so good.
It's going to be huge. So yeah, very excited, mate. Very excited.
So I'm hoping you're cheering on the box on Saturday, and I will catch up with you on the other side.
Mate, I will do. I'll be fully behind Fiji.
Thank you.
I think a draw between France and Argentina would be amazing for England's hopes, and I will be cheering on the box. I really want them to do the Kiwis. That'd be great.
Mate, on that note,
it's been a
pleasure. Go well.
Go well. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.